A short drive from Augusta to Hilton Head for the Verizon Heritage. You can bet our golf columnist, Steve Elling, will keep you up to date on the site. He joins us now on the phone. Steve, a nice transition from the Masters. Fun, relaxing, definitely a different kind of tournament.
Well, yeah, you go from getting the green jacket for winning to getting this tartan-looking thing that most of us probably last saw when we were in college, and that was sort of the pattern that was on the couch that we threw away at the end of our senior year. Yeah, it's you get a different colored jacket at this place. The whole vibe and timbre and tone is different. The golf course is demonstrably different. It's, you know, Augusta's kind of become more of a Bombers type of course over the years, and Hilton Head, man, I'll tell you, it's probably the tightest, shortest course on the PGA Tour. So definitely not a place where you're ever going to see the guys like Mickelson and Tiger go there and play. It just doesn't fit them. It's not even 7,000 yards long. So kind of like Wrigley Field. It's a sort of an old course, a step back in time where precision and things like those elements we don't talk about too much are still very important.
Well, who's going to come out on top? Let's talk about a guy that's been there, done that. I'm talking about Boo Weekley, two-time defending champion. Can he make it a hat trick, Steve?
Yeah, I think he probably can, although I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen much that would give me the impression that he's kind of trending in that direction. He's had really kind of an indifferent spring. He made a big mistake by going over and playing in Abu Dhabi, which I think he would acknowledge now. It knocked a lot of wind out of his sails flying over there and playing and not doing too well, and he didn't play for a while when he got back. I think he's a little burnt out. He's had a long winter, didn't really take a break coming out of the Ryder Cup, continued to play even in a couple of the Fall Series events. So, yeah, I think Boo's still kind of trying to figure out what life is like now as a household name. He's making TV commercials and stuff for Cleveland, and he's kind of become a public figure and trying not to kind of get lost in all that. So I think his play has suffered a little bit because his attentions have been pulled in different directions. So, I wouldn't have expected him to win last year when he defended his title, and lo and behold, he did. So, Boo hits it straight. He's one of the better ball strikers on the tour. It's a term we use a lot. It seems like, you would think everybody on tour would fall into that category. Well, not so much. Some guys get it done with the short game. Some guys pretty much do it just with the putter. Another guy you could talk about this week could be Aaron Baddeley, falling into that latter category, a guy who does most of his damage with the putter, who's won there and has had a couple of close calls, was second last year. So probably one of those two guys would be a safe bet.
You mentioned Aaron Baddeley. This is a field that includes every winner since 1998. Stewart Cink, Aaron Baddeley. Are you going to see a repeat here, you think?
Maybe. Don't forget Davis Love. I think he's won it 5 times, which means he's got the world's largest collection of tacky sport coats in his closet. So, he didn't play last week at the Masters, and Davis has got Hilton Head kind of down to a science. He's a guy that can pound it or hit it straight. He's sort of one of those guys that can, who's always been able to seemingly adjust his game to whatever the golf course gives him, and isn't just a guy who's a horse for a course. Yeah, I think there's a very good likelihood. It's a course where familiarity means something. It's got a lot of nuances and a lot of tricks, and it's one of probably Pete Dye's second most favorite golf course behind Sawgrass. And interestingly, course has been around for a while. It's a place where a young guy named Jack Nicklaus kind of shadowed Pete around and learned the tricks of the design trade. And Jack was kind of the apprentice, I suppose, if you want to use TV terms, back in the day when they were building this thing out there on the edge of the wetlands, and learning from the master, Pete Dye.
You mentioned a young guy. I'm going to transition into another young guy, Camilo Villegas. He's had 3 top 10s. What about a top 1?
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of similar to Boo, I'm not really feeling it with him. I don't know that I laid eyes on him all last week at Augusta. I mean, I know he was, he was around and he was there, and seems like it's been a while since I felt like he really had a chance to win a tournament, which of course is not completely surprising, given that there's been a lot of heavy firepower in these tournaments over the last 3 or 4 weeks, going back to Doral and Bay Hill and Houston, and the Masters have all had pretty much among the top handful of 5 or 6 tournament fields of the year. So, he's definitely been playing against the varsity. So, this would be a good week for him, assuming his game translates well to that. Camilo's fairly accurate as far as that goes. Pretty good with the short game. The putter's usually the magic ingredient for him. Is putting is generally what makes him or breaks him. So it'll probably come down to that club for that guy. You got Rory McIlroy, who's even younger than Camilo in the field this week too. So 19 years old and has had pretty much a string of top 20s this entire spring. He's been playing over here in the U.S. Nothing worse than that, including last week at the Masters. So onward and upward for young Rory. So it'd really be nice to see him in the mix this week and maybe contend. And we'll see how his game transitions over to a tighter, shorter golf course too. On
a different course. Steve Elling, thanks for your time.
You got it.
Different course, different field, same coverage. You can catch it all on CBSSports.com. I'm Lauren Shehadi. We'll talk soon.